Trump was also getting yelled at by everyone just because he released hundreds of violent insurrectionists back into the streets or something. And yeah, okay, they beat some cops and broke some windows, but they were doing it for him. No one seems to understand that, and the media won't shut up with these unfair gotcha questions.
You would agree that it's never acceptable to assault a police officer,
sure.
Right? So then if I can, among those you pardoned, DJ Rodriguez, he drove a stun gun into the neck of a DC police officer who was abducted by the mob that day. He later confessed on video to the FBI and pleaded guilty for his crimes. Why does he deserve a pardon?
Well, I don't know. Was it a pardon? Because we're looking at commutes and we're looking at pardons. Okay, well, we'll take a look at everything.
We'll take a look at everything. Shouldn't you look at it before you issue the pardon? It's like, step 1, release the prisoners. Step 2, look into which prisoners we should release. F***ing nailed it. So, part 1 of his answer about this whole Jan 6 thing is, we'll take a look, which is Trump speak for, we will never look at this again. But if that doesn't satisfy you, he has another reason.
Okay, well, we'll take a look at everything, but I can say this. Murderers today are not even charged. You have murderers that aren't charged all over. You take a look at what's gone on in Philadelphia, take a look at what's gone on in LA, where people murder people and they don't get charged.
See? Some murderers aren't in jail, therefore nobody should be in jail. Okay? Also, think big picture here. If he lets these violent criminals go, there's a chance they'll kill the other violent criminals, and then they'll just cancel each other out. And to be fair to Trump, he has been campaigning on releasing the Jan 6 prisoners for years now. Everyone just assumed he didn't mean the violent ones, which would mean going through all the cases one by one, but that's not really Trump's style.
New reporting from Axios this morning details the private back and forth amongst President Trump's team over how many January 6th rioters to pardon.
The case-by-case review was onerous. Trump staffers wondered whom to pardon and who might slip through the cracks. Time was running out heading into Inauguration Day. As Trump's team wrestled with the issue, Trump just said, F it, release them all.
I have never related to Trump more, all right? This PDF is 400 pages? Okay, f*** it. All crime is legal. And look, you can't expect someone to go through all these cases one by one. I mean, the FBI did, and the prosecutors did, and the judges did, and the juries, and the paralegals, and the person who types on that weird little typewriter no one else knows how to use. But Trump is busy, okay? It's much easier to just click select all, delete. So in the very first 7 hours of the Trump administration, we already have our first big controversy, which of course leads to the classic ritual of a Trump presidency. He does something crazy, then Republicans get asked about it, and they're like, oh, what? I didn't see it.
Do you agree with President Trump's decision to pardon these violent people?
If they were truly violent, no, but do I know that they were? I don't know that.
Is January 6th pardons?
Well, I've said what I said before, and that is we're not looking backward.
I haven't seen the details, but I think a lot of those pardons were definitely well deserved.
But what about those who assaulted police officers and then were pardoned by the president?
I haven't seen it. I haven't gone into the detail.
We're talking about people that were beating officers with fire hydrants, with metal batons. Is that acceptable to you?
No.
Those people were pardoned.
No, that's not acceptable, but I didn't see it. So.
What do you mean you didn't see it?
It's on video.
I didn't see it.
No spoilers. Tommy Tuberville didn't watch Jan 6 yet, okay? He'll get to it, but there's just so much to watch these days. You know, he's still got 9/11 and Benghazi on his DVR. I mean, you were a senator on Jan 6. Like, what do you mean you didn't see the insurrection? You lived it. This is like a Titanic survivor saying, I haven't seen the movie. Don't tell me what happens. So, to sum up day 1 of Trump's presidency, church is bad, beating cops is good. So I guess he's a Democrat now. By now, we all know the story about how Trump's team included a reporter in their war planning group chat, and we don't need to hear it again. But it is super funny, so let's hear about it again.
This morning, fallen from that
stunning lapse in national security. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, along with other top members of President Trump's national security team, sharing details about a planned large-scale attack on Yemen earlier this month on the commercial message app Signal, and inadvertently including journalist Jeffrey Goldberg on that chain. Hegseth shared operational details of forthcoming strikes, weapons deploying, and attack sequencing.
Goldberg also reported that when it comes to security, Hegseth wrote at one point, "We are currently clean on OPSEC." That's the acronym used for operational security.
Oh, ha 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 ha. You think that's funny, don't you? That the stupid Secretary of Defense is so stupid and all drunk that he texted "we're clean on OPSEC" when there's a reporter right in the group chat? Yeah? Well, laugh it up, people. Because unlike you, I have human empathy for these people who are just trying their best to kill other humans, all right? And I guarantee that if anyone in this audience had their group chats leaked, it would ruin every single one of your lives. I personally have chats that are actually more sensitive than a missile attack on the Houthis, okay? If you told me that my group chats leaked and then told me it was just my missile attack one, I'd be like, oh my God, thank God, thank God. And by the way, it wasn't even Pete Hegseth who added him. It was some other incompetent guy at the highest levels of government, okay? Like, what, you think Hegseth has the editor of the Atlantic magazine saved in his phone? No way, all right? If Hegseth autofilled a contact into a group chat, it would be like Tampa Bay blonde with Bugs Bunny tattoo. Okay? But still, you gotta ask, how did this happen? I mean, don't you guys have tech support in the government? I mean, what? Oh. Okay. Well, if you ask me, adding a reporter wasn't even the most embarrassing thing to happen on this group chat.
According to Goldberg, the administration officials reacting after the strikes, excellent, a good start. Waltz even sending several emojis.
Is anyone else kind of upset that we're conducting war by emoji now? I mean, what does this even mean? What, I'm gonna fist the flag and then light it on fire? Like, there's a reason why you don't use emojis for life and death situations. It's too open to interpretation, okay? Like, imagine if your doctor texted you a crab emoji, right? And now you're going, oh my God, I have crabs? And your doctor has to be like, LOL, no, it's the astrology sign for Cancer, okay? You have cancer. But now everyone is yelling at them about this breach of national security or whatever, and the Department of Defense is having trouble defending themselves. Luckily, all of MAGA is there to help them. Counter-argument 1. Nobody's perfect.
Well, it's a mistake. You know, we make mistakes. We all make mistakes.
But somebody made a mistake, and that happens.
Yeah, look, it's a mistake, and we got to move on.
Well, it was a mistake. Like I said before, it was a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes.
Is that sufficient accountability to you to recognize that someone made a mistake and moving on? Because I don't see that same standard being held
Boris,
when other people have made...
Boris, I gave you the soundbite already. I gave you the soundbite already.
Boris, I gave you the soundbite. Stop asking follow-up questions. If I wanted to talk to a journalist, I'd be on a private group chat with Pete Hegseth. Okay, cut it out. Like, come on, what, we're just calling this a mistake now? Like, look, my DoorDasher forgetting straws is a mistake that can be rectified with 1 star and no tip, okay? But this feels like a major f***up, and they're acting like nobody will care about this. And honestly, they're probably right. I mean, nothing seems to matter anymore anyway, and everyone will forget this in a few days when Trump sends the new Snow White to Gitmo. And even if they didn't accidentally add a journalist into this group chat, They weren't supposed to be talking about this stuff on Signal in the first place, okay? Signal might be a good app for you and me and our local drug dealer, but it's not for the Pentagon to plan wars on.
One former White House official told Politico their personal phones are all hackable, and it's highly likely that foreign intelligence services are sitting on their phones watching them type the shit out.
That's right. Foreign adversaries could be watching whatever Pete Hegseth types into his phone, like "bar near me," or "how to fool breathalyzer," or "how to uncrash car." But if you're not satisfied with "it was just a mistake," they have another defense. It was just a mistake. That was awesome.
The bigger takeaway for me is it's an insight, a transparent insight into the thought process and dialogue of our national leaders. If you read the content of these messages, I think you'll come away proud that these are the leaders making these decisions in America.
What you did see, though, I think, was top-level officials doing their job, doing it well, and executing on a plan with precision.
Precision. I mean, even your texts weren't hitting the intended targets, all right? Like forget the Houthis. I'm surprised they didn't accidentally blow up Houthi and the Blowfish. This is like if your sex tape leaked and you're like, hey, I'm glad you saw all of it, okay? This proves my dick works. By the way, Mike Johnson, if you're watching, a sex tape is when two people love each other very much, but they also want to masturbate later. Just to summarize, the Trump administration admitted this happened, but it was a small mistake, and it was a good thing that it happened. But also, what if the reporter made the whole thing up?
Not a good reporter. Jeffrey Goldberg from The Atlantic, one of the biggest hoax artists around.
I happen to know the guy's a total sleazebag. The Atlantic is a failed magazine, does very, very poorly.
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again. This is the guy that peddles in garbage.
Right. So this reporter who is dishonest and sucks is also correct. And also, we added him to our group chat because he's a fun hang. I mean, you can't use "it was a mistake" and "it was fake news." You gotta pick one, okay? You gotta get together and figure it out, okay? But not in a group chat. No more group chats. But you know what? All's well that ends well. The good news is that no one got hurt except for the people of Yemen. And I guess it'll be okay as long as everyone involved learned their lesson.
Peter, exit question, and I don't know if you know the answer. Are they ever going to use Signal again for something like this?
It seems like yes, they will.
Okay, good enough.
Okay, good enough. Yep, good. We solved it. Good. It's been 2 weeks since Liberation Day, and we're in a full-blown trade war with China, with tariffs now at 145%, which means the trade war has officially moved from shower to grower. And some people are concerned about this trade war because they want the economy to be good or something. But you know what? Trump is not stressing about it.
Yesterday, the White House press secretary reading a statement she said President Trump dictated.
China needs to make a deal with us. We don't have to make a deal with them. There's no difference between China and any other country except they are much larger.
Yeah, that's kind of a big difference, though. It's like saying, why should I be scared to fight The Rock? He's just like any other person except much larger. Yeah, that's the scary part. But I guess Trump's people must be confident that they can push China around because they're not just throwing around tariffs, they're throwing some shade.
Vice President J.D. Vance is caught in a firestorm of his own making, calling the Chinese peasants.
To make it a little bit more crystal clear, we borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture. That is not a recipe for economic prosperity.
Oh, shit! He's really calling Chinese people peasants. Nobody likes to be called a peasant. Even legit peasants are like, actually, I consider myself more of an agricultural entrepreneur. But yeah, J.D. Vance called the Chinese peasants a couple weeks ago, and now that the news finally got to their villages by donkey cart, they are pissed.
Tonight we are seeing China trading insults with the Vice President J.D. Vance and the latest knock against President Trump's trade war.
让美国那些乡巴佬们在中华民族5000年文明面前哀鸣吧。
That went so hard. Oh no, are we the Drake in this beef? Are we the certified peasants? At the same time though, saying your 5,000-year-old civilization doesn't intimidate Americans because half the people here don't even think the earth is that old. Also, let's just be real, okay? There's no way Americans are the peasants here. Do peasants have medical debt? Didn't think so. Checkmate, China. But it's not just Chinese officials who are mad. China has extremely online losers just like our peasants, and they're mad too.
On China's tightly controlled internet, government censors are allowing Vance's interview to go viral, amplifying the outrage, igniting anger and sarcasm. Look, this is their true face, arrogant and rude as always. We may be peasants, but we have the world's best high-speed rail, the most powerful logistics, and leading AI and drone technologies. Aren't such peasants quite impressive? One hashtag about the Chinese peasants remark shot to the top of China's Twitter-like platform Weibo.
Whoa. Wait, is that Michael Costa? How did the third whitest host of The Daily Show go viral in China before the Asian one? That's f***ed up. That's the same triangle and everything. Wait, is China watching this? Oh, okay, well, hey, thanks for watching this. Hi, 中国的朋友们，我不相信我现在说的话，我只是在诈 Paramount 的钱，感谢你们盗用这个视频。And as far as his dating life goes, Elon isn't lacking there either.
According to the Wall Street Journal, Elon Musk followed cryptocurrency influencer Tiffany Fong on X and began liking and replying to her tweets. Around November of last year, Musk sent her a direct message asking if she was interested in having his child, according to people familiar with the matter. The two had never met in person.
Elon, can you just be a normal person and send a dick pic, all right? This is why you should switch the settings on your DMs to followers who don't want to impregnate me only. I mean, you haven't met this person, you're already trying to raw doge her? Like, I have to work up the courage to put the moves on my own wife, all right? Like, hey, if you're not doing anything later, maybe you could, like, I don't know, like kiss or whatever. Never mind, it's stupid. Kristi Noem, Secretary of Homeland Security, and One Woman Kill Shelter. She's in charge of the country's pathway to citizenship, which for hundreds of years has been a solemn, dignified process for achieving the American dream. But what if, instead, it was tacky and gross?
A surreal report that could turn immigration into a TV show. The Trump administration says it's in the very beginning stages of the vetting process for a reported immigrant reality TV show where immigrants would compete to prove they are the most American with a chance to win U.S. citizenship.
A reality TV show for citizenship is somehow the most un-American and most American thing I've ever heard of. Although we already have a contest to prove who's the most American, and it's called the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. What's more American than eating until your colon explodes and then going bankrupt from medical bills? But let me be clear, I hate this idea. Unless they're looking for a host, then I love this idea. And I'm available on Fridays. I will say it might be a nicer way to get deported. Instead of ICE agents disappearing you up in unmarked vehicles, Ryan Seacrest walks into your living room with a TV crew and is like, Carlos, we're taking you out of the USA. But meanwhile, Kristi Noem was testifying in Congress today about whether her administration is deporting people without habeas corpus, which is their right to due process. If you didn't know what habeas corpus was, don't worry, Kristi Noem didn't Google it either.
What is habeas corpus?
Well, habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country and suspend their right to.
Let me stop you, ma'am. Habeas
right
corpus, excuse me, that's incorrect.
Okay, look, if Kristi Noem was just a random person on the street, I get it. If she was like, habeas corpus, that's a Harry Potter spell, right? Like, makes you invisible. But the Secretary of Homeland Security should know that habeas corpus prevents the president from deporting you without due process. Not that it lets the president deport you without due process. That's the opposite of what it means. And I didn't know you could have dyslexia for laws. Either way, Noem whiffed hard on that question. But unfortunately for her, the quiz was just beginning.
Do you know what section of the Constitution the suspension clause of habeas corpus is in?
I do not. No.
Do you know which article it is in?
No, I do not, sir.
Okay, well, it is in Article 1.
It was in 1. It was the first. You didn't even read the first one. So can you stop? We get it, okay? Stop asking her harder questions. Like, how would senators like it if Kristi Noem asked you questions that she was an expert in, huh? Hey, Senator Kim, do you know how to trick a puppy into walking into an open grave? No, not so smart now, are you? Anyway, Kristi Noem, you still don't know the basics of American law, so I'm sorry to say, we're gonna have to take you out of USA. As part of this military makeover, last week the secretary announced a surprise meeting.
Tonight, in an unprecedented move, Secretary Pete Hegseth asking all U.S. general officers and admirals around the world to gather at the U.S. Marine Base in Quantico, Virginia.
A meeting of this size in person and on such short notice is extremely rare.
It's going to also potentially be a security risk, given the sheer number of military officials and how many are going to be gathered in one place at a time.
Listen, we all do weird things when we're drunk, okay? Some of us slide into an ex's DMs, and some of us call every U.S. general to a meeting at Quantico. But, you know, I'm sure if the secretary is going to gather all the generals, some of them from active war zones, then he must have something very important he wants to tell them.
It's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon.
That's what you dragged all these generals in for? To tell them they're fat? Couldn't you just leave some passive-aggressive comments on their Instagram? Like, hey, congrats, General, when are you due? I mean, this guy will text top-secret war plans, but when it comes to body shaming, he's like, I want to see their fat faces when I tell them how fat their faces are. Look, I get the military needs to be fit, okay? But in defense of fat generals, they're kind of like coaches, right? Like, coaches don't need to be fit enough to play the sport. They just have to be fit enough to date a 24-year-old. And also, there are some military positions you kind of don't want a fit soldier for. Like, I don't want a guy with six-pack abs operating a drone. He clearly hasn't had enough time and experience sitting down like this with a controller. Just going, okay, he's dead. But telling generals they have to get on Ozempic wasn't the whole speech. America's Secretary of War had more to say than that.
No more beards, long hair, superficial individual expression. We're going to cut our hair, shave our beards, and adhere to standards.
Okay, you hear that, you goddamn hippie generals? No more beards. I'm looking at you, Admiral Lebowski. Now, According to Pete Hegseth, America's military standards are now going to be indistinguishable from a Grindr profile, okay? No fatties, no facial hair, and get those ladies the out of my sight. But it's all about a much larger project of de-wokeificationing.
An entire generation of generals and admirals were told that they must parrot the insane fallacy that, quote, our diversity is our strength. They had to put out dizzying DEI and LGBTQI plus statements. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses.
Yeah, you hear that, General Doubtfire? Something very weird about that general. I can't put my finger on it. Although, are we sure dudes wearing dresses doesn't work? Because the Taliban wore dresses and it kind of worked for them. You know what I mean? I don't know, maybe the beards cancel out the dresses. Someone check the math on that. But this wasn't just a pep talk. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, also took the opportunity to bump his book sales on Amazon.
You might say we're ending the war on warriors. I heard someone wrote a book about that.
Yeah. And that someone was him. Say what you want about Henry Kissinger. I mean, at least he never used his position to sell his book, 101 War Crimes to Try on Cambodians. But bottom line, a lot of people were worried that this event was going to show that Pete Hegseth had taken over the military. But it actually just showed how disconnected his MAGA rally energy is from their professional culture, especially this moment that he clearly thought was going to crush.
Should our enemies choose foolishly to challenge us, they will be crushed by the violence, precision, and ferocity of the War Department. In other words, to our enemies, F-A-F-O. If necessary, our troops can translate that for you.
Wow. Not even the leaders of the U.S. military have ever seen a line bomb that hard before. It's just it's weird and some would say juvenile to use internet slang in a speech to your adversaries. I mean, President Reagan was never like, Mr. Gorbachev, I hark to us, spit on that wall.